We hear about it too often, don't we? Workplace accidents, disasters, serious harm, even fatalities. And effective safety training is just so critical.
It really is. But we also know traditional training often doesn't quite hit the mark.
Yeah, exactly. How many times have you sat through a safety video and, well, forgotten most of it by lunch? It really makes you think, isn't there a better way? A way to make that vital safety knowledge actually stick?
Well, that's the big question we're diving into today. Welcome, everyone. We're here to unpack the world of virtual reality VR, specifically for safety training.
And we're focusing on a really significant piece of research. It's called Virtual Reality for Safety Training, a systematic literature review and meta-analysis.
Right, and this isn't just any paper. It was published in Safety Science. It's a top-tier journal by Elsevier, a really respected name.
Absolutely. We should give credit where it's due. This is the work of PhD student Dorothy Scorgie and her supervising team from Massey University in New Zealand.
hmm And that team is based in one of the most well-known labs for this kind of work, digital built environment, safety training at Massey. We're actually expecting more big things from them, too. Professor Rino Lavrelio recently got a Marsden Fund Award.
Oh, interesting. So lots more innovation likely coming.
Looks that way.
Okay, so our goal today is to give you a kind of shortcut. We want to break down what this major study found about VR's real impact on safety training, some surprising facts, but also, practical insights.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Traditional safety training, syncs manuals, videos, maybe some drills. They have a role, sure, but often they're pretty passive, right?
Totally passive. I remember nodding off in a lecture once. You just don't engage the same way.
Exactly. And they struggle to show you, like, really extreme or hazardous situations safely. Plus, feedback can be limited, and setting up realistic drills can cost a fortune.
Yeah, you can't simulate a chemical spill easily or cheaply in a real workspace. That's where VR comes in, isn't it? It feels like a potential game changer.
It really does. VR offers this incredibly engaging, immersive experience. It gets around a lot of those old limitations. You can put someone in the scenario safely.
So this study you mentioned, its rigor, what do they actually do?
Well, it was a systematic literature review combined with 2 meta-analyses. Basically, they gathered data from 52 different studies done between 2013 and 2021.
Wow, 52 studies.
Yeah, so they combine the results statistically. It gives you a much stronger picture than just one experiment. They focused on areas like construction, fire safety, aviation, mining, but they specifically left out medical and military stuff for this review.
Got it. So focused on civilian, industrial, and emergency contexts. Okay, the
Yeah.
big reveal then. What did they find about VR's effectiveness?
This is where it gets really interesting. The first meta-analysis looked at knowledge acquisition, basically, how much people learned right away.
Yeah.
And VR safety training outperformed traditional methods significantly. They measured a medium-large effect, which in statistical terms is quite strong. You learn more with VR, period.
Okay, that's a big tick for VR. But does it last? What about remembering it?
Great question. That was the second meta-analysis, knowledge retention. And here again, VR significantly outperformed traditional methods. The effect size was even larger, actually. Hedges G of 0.838, which indicates a really significant positive effect.
If you don't just learn more, you remember it for longer.
Exactly. Which is absolutely crucial for safety, isn't it? Knowing what to do months later when something actually happens.
That's huge. Did the review pull out any other sort of interesting patterns or trends?
Yeah, a few things. Construction and fire safety training were the dominant areas where VR was being used, like almost 70% of the applications by 2021.
Shows where the immediate need or perceived benefit is, I guess.
Probably. Also, hardware-wise, VR headsets have really taken over since about 2019. They've become more powerful and more accessible.
Makes sense. But it wasn't all perfect, right? Were there gaps or areas needing more work?
Oh, definitely. One really key finding was that very few studies, only about 9.6%, actually used established learning theories to design or test their VR training.
So more just testing if it worked, not why it worked, based on theory.
Kind of, yeah. There's a need to connect the what works with the why it works using, psychological educational theories. It helps refine the training design.
Okay, that's a critical point for future research. Anything else?
Yes, another big one. Measuring retention long-term. Only about 36% of the studies even measured retention, and most of those were just, within 4 weeks. We need more data on whether people remember this stuff 6 months, a year later.
Right, that longer-term view is vital. Did they mention anything specific within the VR that worked well, like instructional techniques?
They did. Immediate feedback was highlighted as being really effective. So when you're in the VR and you do something, getting feedback right then and there, whether you did it right or wrong, really helps lock in the learning.
Okay, instant correction or reinforcement makes total sense. So bringing this all together, what does this mean for, the people listening? Safety managers, trainers.
Well, it's pretty clear evidence, isn't it? You're involved in safety training, especially for high-risk casts. This strongly suggests that investing in VR could pay off significantly. Better learning, better retention.
It suggests it might be time to shift some budget, perhaps. Prioritize VR where the risk is highest.
It certainly makes a strong case for it. These findings really show VR's potential to fundamentally change how we prepare people for dangerous situations, how we prevent harm across all sorts of industries, construction, manufacturing, emergency response.
So the takeaway really is, VR isn't just some fancy tech trend. This rigorous review shows it's a scientifically validated tool that makes safety training more effective. You learn more, you remember it longer.
That's the bottom line.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener. Given how VR boosts learning and memory for critical safety stuff, where else could it make a real difference? Think about your industry, your specific job, maybe even parts of your personal life. Where could this immersive tech fundamentally change how we learn and retain vital skills? Something to think about.